I would highlight the fact that she did not let anything sway her. She came to Zimbabwe convinced that creative engagement with narrative, looking for different forms of expression, was the way to engage Africa and to nurture the growth of communities in Africa. And she's still doing that. And this is why it's so interesting that one of her last big projects was the conference on Chinua Achebe and the book that came out of it, because he was very much the same. In literature, he was also very groundbreaking in the way he used the English language with the Igbo idiom so that it could speak to the people directly. And we actually see the impact of the work of Chinua Achebe, because Africans up and down the continent relate to it and love that work. And most people have a favorite novel that comes from Chinua Achebe's work. I know that the first novel that I read was Things Fall Apart. And so she was doing the same in literature. It is not so easy to reach a wide audience. All right. So Michere was doing the same with drama and specifically community theatre. So it's not so easy to reach a wide international audience, but the impact that you have on the ground is much greater. And so that's one of the key thing that I think would be important to me. I think one of the reasons that Michere's name might not have received as much attention as Ngugi's is the sexism that we experience in this world. If two names appear on a publication and one is male and one is female, people generally tend to foreground the male name. And I see this even on social media. Debates are ongoing and people will like the comments that are made by men and not pay attention, not respond to the comments that are made by women. So it's something I've been noticing, and I was even thinking to myself just the other day, I need to do a study on this. Do I have the time and energy? But then there are the structural issues also. As a woman, it's very much more difficult for you to find the time to engage as much as you want to, because you have so many other things demanding on your life. For example, it's just more difficult to find childcare. So you have that many more demands. And so I think these are the issues that contribute to that. And then also, it takes a lot of energy then. When you've got these structural issues working against you, it takes a lot of energy to work against them. And I know that I personally have also decided that I'm not going to take my energy to use in fighting those structural issues overtly, because that's energy that I could be using to do my work. And so you may not really push as hard for some platforms because you don't want to just waste your energy on those issues. So it's actually a tragedy. I mean, I know that it's almost impossible to find funding to say, okay, we want to do something centered around women's work and women's contribution. So that's why people don't get to know about the work of many of the great African women. That's one of the reasons why I do the work that I do. I work with women filmmakers, and the idea is to capacitate women so that we can tell our own stories. And telling our own stories also includes telling the stories of the great women who've gone before us. I wish that people really understood her contribution to the world of African letters. I mean, even I don't have access to all her intellectual and academic contribution. And I think it's also important for people to understand that intellectualism and being intellectual is not just something that happens in an ivory tower, but it's something that has its foundation in the everyday life of the people. You know, people, when we talk these days, we talk about grassroots and we lump people that we call grassroots together in a class, especially with the development discourse. The grassroots have become almost like another, who are not like us. But the work of Michere shows us that continuum between the lived experience of the majority, the ordinary person on the ground, and what we should be doing with our thinking, what our intellectual aspirations should be. And I so much admire her for that.